Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my 69th vlog, and today I'm not going to talk about bodybuilding and fitness. Today I just want to share with you guys a really creepy story I had while I was in college. So anyways, I was never a big believer in like paranormal stuff and ghosts and things like that, but I went to a college called Ringling College of Art and Design after my senior year in high school to pursue filmmaking. I only ended up going there for one semester because I didn't really enjoy the school. It was really expensive and I wanted to change my major. But anyways, this school was in Sarasota, Florida, which is like southwest Florida above Naples, and it was a really small school. I think it only had like 1,400 students there, probably because the price tag was so damn expensive. Most of the dorms the first year, you had to share a room with somebody, and like, I'm not about that. Like, I can have a roommate, but I'm never gonna share a room with somebody. Like, I don't wanna schedule like sleep times, I don't wanna schedule like homework times, I don't wanna have to go other places to do things like this, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, no, that's not happening, but they did have some single dorms. So these single dorms are in a renovated old hotel called the Bay Haven Hotel. You can Google it right now and see some old photos of it. I think it was like created in like the 1910s or 1920s, and there's a lot of old photos of it. And basically, Ringling College of Art and Design bought the complex and made it into a dormitory. Now, if you guys actually Google this place, it's known to be haunted. But don't type in like Bay Haven Hotel Haunted, because that's like the old name for it. The new name for it is Keating Hall at Ringling College of Art and Design, and you can actually read other people's ghost stories. You guys can actually see the room I'm in this old photo right here. Obviously, this is the old photo of the building, now it's renovated, but this is the room I was in right here. So here's the premise behind why it was haunted. I think it actually acted as a brothel for a period of time, and there was this girl in there, I think her name was Mary from like the story that I read, and anyway, she was really depressed or lonely or something like that, and she ended up killing herself in the back stairwell of the building that's actually now blocked off, whether it's like they just want to use it as a fire escape or people just they don't want people to go there because it's creepy. I don't know, I never got to go to that stairway. So this building has all kinds of stories surrounding this girl who supposedly killed herself in the stairway. So when I moved into this place, I didn't know it was like supposedly haunted, but like a week in I found that out and I was like, okay, well, you know, I haven't experienced anything, so I don't really care, I guess. So about a week into me moving into this place, I noticed like the lights in the hallways, like the big like flat like hallway like lamps, they would just kind of like shut off randomly, and like so the lighting was really weak in that complex. Like they were just lights that would go out all the time and they'd go back on like randomly, and it would happen like multiple times a week. Not like that's anything out of the ordinary. A lot of older buildings have shoddy wiring, like electrical stuff and all that. So like the other students in the complex, sometimes we'd like joke around like, oh, like that's the ghost turning off the lights and all that. And before I continue, I do want to say this building was super creepy. I mean, the stairway that you walked in was like, I had to walk up like 3 stairways of like a really small square room, basically, you know, one of the ones that goes like around like a lighthouse almost. And that was really annoying, and that was a really creepy stairway. You could tell it was like super old bricks, and it always like smelled kind of weird. And then the hallways itself, they just looked like something out of like a horror movie or something. It was like super narrow, right? And like I told you, the lights are on top, and like it was just like really old carpeting, like thin hotel carpeting like on the ground, and like every step you make you hear creaking on the floor. And on top of that, this hotel actually used to have bathrooms per 2 units. There was like a door that went into like a middle room that was really small with a window, and then on the other side was someone else's dorm. But what was really creepy is that this whole room was like cemented. Like there was no toilet in there for whatever the plumbing reasons are, I don't know, but basically you had to walk down the hall and around the corner to the shared bathroom. Of course, I had showers and everything, and since I was a bodybuilder and I had to pee all the time, oh my god, that was freaking annoying. So about like 3 weeks in, I actually had some pretty creepy things starting to happen. Sometimes in like the middle of the day, I'd come back from my dorm from after class, and I would just open my door, right? And my whole room smelled like violet, like straight pungent violet perfume. And I even like knocked on my neighbor's doors. I'm like, hey, does your room smell like this? And they're like, no. And I smelled the air coming out of the air vent, and it wasn't coming out of there. I like opened my window, it wasn't outside. It was just straight ass, like someone sprayed violet perfume in my room, and no one else had a key to my room. This happened several times a week. This is when I start getting really creeped out, because I started assuming that maybe this was like that girl's room who killed herself in the stairway, because I don't know why it smells like violets in here. Maybe it's some kind of paranormal scent or something. I don't really know. I was just really scared. And the next thing that started creeping me out is like sometimes in the hallway in the middle of the night, I'd hear like footsteps. Like obviously there's other students in there. They could be walking around. But the weird thing was like you'd hear really light footsteps sometimes, and they stop like right in front of your door. Like no lie. I was like, is somebody standing there? And one time I even looked under my doors. It just kept happening like night after night, and like nothing was there. About 4 to 5 weeks in, I remember I was sleeping some nights, and I would feel like a tugging on my blanket, like towards my feet, like a very, very slight tug, like someone's taking my blanket off me. And I kept like readjusting my blanket, I'm like pulling it up and stuff. Like it was so subtle, but it was definitely like happening. Like my blanket was definitely like pulling itself off, and if I just let it happen, it would have like completely came off of me. Now I know at this point some of you guys are probably like, stop, like that did not happen. But like, dude, like I'm not just making this up for views or something. Like I don't care. Like I've never experienced anything paranormal. I've slept fine like everywhere else in my life, but it's about to get even creepier. So here's where it gets really creepy. One night at like 2 a.m., I remember like in that cemented bathroom in between my dorm and another kid's dorm, basically like I heard like that creaky old window slide up like very slightly. And then I just heard like this whirlwind of like air like flow into like the bathroom and just kind of like come in my room like at a really slow pace. This took like a minute or two. It was just like I could hear this like whirl spinning of air almost, I guess you could describe it. And then like right after that, this swirling of air kept getting closer and closer to me, and this was like 2 minutes after I heard the window open. And then I just felt like someone was straight ass standing next to me. Like it was the creepiest feeling. Like I don't know if you guys, you know when someone's standing next to you. Like if you ever have a friend like stand over, you can kind of like feel like the presence, and you just know someone's there. And that's exactly how I felt. Like it just, someone was dead ass staring at me. It's like staring at me in my room in the middle of the night, and I was like literally shaking. I was just like, ugh. That went on for like a full minute, and I heard like the wind kind of swishing in my room as well, and it was just really, really freaking creepy. And that finally went away after, like I said, like a minute of like someone standing there. I just felt it like disappear all of a sudden. Like I didn't get up. I just like cuddled in my blanket and tried to ignore it. The next day, I obviously go ask some other students, like, hey, did you like experience anything weird last night? Like, felt like someone was standing next to me by the bed. Maybe it was the ghost, and everyone just kind of like laughed at me. So that night I decided to go on YouTube and just turn on some ambient music. Like I think I turned on like ocean waves for like 10 hours or something. And I just did that because I didn't want to hear that fucking noise anymore. I thought that maybe be enough to cover it up. A few days go by, I don't really experience anything other than these really, really cold spots in my room. Like it would be during the day or in the middle of the night, like I would just like have like an orb of cold air in certain places in the room. Like I would legit like put my hand here and it'd be like freezing cold, and I'd pull my hand out and I was just fucking mind blown. Like I didn't even want to tell anyone because it was so freaking weird. I just felt like nobody would ever believe me. And like sometimes I'd be sleeping and I just felt like there was like a freaking freezer like right here, just like it was so cold, and I turned my head the other way and there's nothing. So a few nights later, despite playing the YouTube video of like ocean waves, I felt the same person standing there, and I heard the whirlwind again. And along with that, I felt like that tugging on my blanket, like even a little harder this time. So the next day, I'm like starting to think to myself, maybe I'm crazy, like this is really weird, like no one else is experiencing this. I feel like I'm like the only one, and like nobody's gonna believe me. So that night, I decided to turn on ocean waves and turn on my Xbox to turn on like some Simpsons episodes I had and just put them on repeat. So it just like had so much noise in my room. It wasn't really loud, but there was just so much going on that I felt like I just couldn't hear this like thing come into my room anymore at all while I was sleeping, because it was waking me up. And like 2 days after I started playing The Simpsons and Ocean Waves, heard the same thing again, like that weird whirlwind come into my room with the creaky window open. And then I felt someone standing there, but this time, like right next to my ear, I hear like in a woman's voice, like 3 times, turn it off, turn it off. Like right next to my ear, this lady says this like 3 times, like this ghost. And like, I like dead ass, like I heard turn it off. And she says this 3 times right next to my ear in like a super ghostly pale voice that was so subtle. But I heard exactly what she said, and I was legit like shaking. And then like I heard like, I even felt like even harder tugging at my blanket this time. Not like super hard, but it was just like, my blanket was moving, man. It was so weird. And the whole time there was like a really chilly spot next to my face. I could absolutely feel like someone was standing next to me. And I just felt like I was in hell or something. It was so weird. And I just jumped the fuck up, turned the light on, and there was nothing there. My heart starts fucking beating, and I basically just run down the hall, go sleep in my car for the night because I had like a big Suburban at the time. I could easily make a bed in there. Now the absolute creepiest part was that I left The Simpsons playing despite leaving the room that night. And when I come back the next morning, the hard drive to my Xbox 360, you know how it's like a button to like slightly detach it? Someone like pressed that button and the hard drive was slightly detached, and I look at my TV screen and it says like Xbox 360 like hard drives detached, like please reattach it or whatever. And I was just like, holy crap, man, like that was real. And basically the next day I go to the dorm office. I'm like, hey, I want to get the hell out of there. I didn't know it was haunted. Whether you believe me, like in my story or not, like I don't care. Get me out of there. I'm not paying for this. So like they said, okay, fine, we can move you in about a week. There's someone moving out of this spot in like another complex, so you can take that. But still, like I was like, oh my god, that's like a week, dude. Like I feel like this ghost thing is gonna get worse like every night now. So legit, call me a pussy, but I legit like made a bed in my SUV and slept in there for that whole week. During that whole week, my room smelled like violet perfume as well. So after that, it was like halfway through the semester, I moved into another complex, finished the semester, dropped out of that school, went back home, went to Florida Atlantic University the next semester, or next fall. And basically, like, yeah, so that was my ghost story. Now, don't just take my word for it. Google Ringling Keating Hall ghost stories, and you'll find like all kinds of different like forums and internet websites where you can read stories about this from students. So yeah, guys, I really don't like sleeping in older buildings anymore. I always think like, oh, maybe someone killed themselves in there. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that was just mega creepy, and I couldn't sleep at night thinking about it. And I'm just so glad I didn't have to stay there the whole semester. All right, guys, thank you for watching my 69 vlog on my ghost story. I hope you guys like watching my vlogs. If you do, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys